Hello and welcome to Voices of the Vic podcast with me, Ben Aiton, and Mike Duffy. We are back with another preview for Watford Sky Bet Championship campaign. This time, Watford head to the Coventry Building Society Arena on Saturday, 3 p.m. kickoff against Coventry City. But with me, joining me on this podcast will be Mike Duffy, and we've got a guest joining us as well. We've got Glenn coming from the Sky Blue Hub, which is a dedicated Twitter page for everything Coventry City and more. So go check them out. We'll plug their Twitter handle later on in the show. But first, Mike, how are you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm doing very, very well. Hopefully, this trip to CBS Arena will be not as disappointing as the last one. Me and you went to the last game there. For those that don't remember, or for those that have tried to sort of wipe it from their memory, we're obviously 2-0 up against Cov. A small outside chance that we may have snuck through the back door of the playoffs, but it was never going to happen. And then we go and throw that 2-0 lead away, and less said the better. But yeah, hopefully this time round it's a lot more different. And I'm just praying that we can pick up the 3 points. So Watford Twitter's a safe place to go on match days after the game. Then.
Don't hold your breath, mate, because we know what Watford Twitter is like after a defeat. It wasn't even a bad performance against Blackburn. We created, well, it was more attractive football in last season. It's just putting the ball in the back of the net. But I strongly believe if we carry on playing the way we are under Valerie Ismail and implementing his style of play, the goals are going to come. We're conceding for the least amount of chances in the Championship. Um, I think we've maybe conceded the least amount as well. And then all of the stats are saying that Watford should be doing maybe better than what they actually are at the moment, Mike, aren't they? So I think it's just going to be sooner rather than later when Watford actually get 3 points and maybe put a bit of run together to move up the Championship table. But it's still early days, isn't it, Mike?
Absolutely, it's early days. I just want to remind people that 8 games in last season, Bristol City were second or third in the league, and they finished mid-table in the end. So Rotherham were flying, Reading were up there, QPR had a good start. So listen, it's early days. I'm not going to panic yet. And as you said, when that first goal goes in, or when we finally score again, and when that first win comes, or that first win since QPR comes, we can get a bit of a run together. Something will click, and hopefully we'll be on a roll.
Let's hope so. You've got to remember as well, Burnley, they didn't start the season particularly well last season. If anyone's watched their latest documentary on Sky, Mission to Burnley, I do recommend watching it, even though we're not Burnley fans. It's a good insight into a football club and seeing behind the scenes and all that. But it took them to maybe about late September, start of October to actually get their rhythm. And then they just picked up win after win, back-to-back wins, and they just didn't look back after that. So let's just not write off the season completely so far. Let's not be downhearted. Burnley took them a while to gel and get their team together and get Vincent's company's philosophy across to the players. So I do think that we will be able to maybe get a run together. But Mike, I know I jumped straight in with Watford related chat, and that's what it's meant to be. It's a Watford related podcast, but I know you wanted to talk about something very quickly from your personal point of view with something that may be happening in your private life.
Yeah, so for those that don't know, I like to, well, I use the word like loosely. I like to do running events as often as I can. Let's just say I'm still feeling the effects of a good lockdown. And, I think doing YouTube, it's probably sort of opened my eyes a bit more as to how good a lockdown I've had. But I recently completed the Solihull 10K in, I think it was the start of this month. I can't really remember now. My memory's terrible. And then I also did the Birmingham 10K in May. So to keep myself motivated, I always like to make sure I've got an event booked in. So my next one is on the 4th of November, which will be the Nottingham 10K. And I've already sorted a charity out for that, so that's fine. But there will obviously be more runs as time goes on, more 10Ks. I'd love to be able to build up to a half marathon one day. And bloody hell, God forbid I might even touch a marathon one day, but I'm a long, long way off that. And basically, I just wanted to put that sort of message out there that I like to do these runs for charities. The last one, the Solihull one, I didn't do for a charity, but the Birmingham one I did for the Stroke Association. That's a charity that's quite close to my heart for personal reasons. But I basically want to run for charities that might be close to listeners' hearts, whether they're a big charity, whether they're a small charity. I want to do things for them. I mean, if it's a smaller charity, happy days. They might not get many donations. So if you're listening to this, please do drop us a message. You can drop me a message. My personal Twitter handle is here at Mike Duffy _28. And like I say, the one in Nottingham in November, I've already got a charity. I'm running for one of my best mates in Birmingham. His sister's got a foundation set up in her name, so I'm running for that charity. But yeah, any future events, when I announce when I'm doing them, if anyone's got a charity close to their hearts, please don't hesitate to message me, and I would love to give back in that aspect and run for them.
That's it. No, fair play to you as well for wanting to continue the run. I know how much of a slog it is and how much hard work you put into it. So fair play to you. So yeah, if you are interested and want to get involved and suggest a charity, drop Mike a message on Twitter and he'll more than happy to help out. Thank you for everyone who's watching tonight as well, who's ready for the preview. Pete from Warns TV and also from Do Not Scratch Your Eyes says, hi gents, hope all is well with everyone at Voices of the Vic, and the big thumbs up. Hope you well, Pete, as well. Keep up the good work on Do Not Scratch Your Eyes as well. Absolutely love the content you guys are putting out with your previews and matchday vlogs, even though it's a bit delayed this week because there was a couldn't get my words out. Carl was suffering with a hangover. Sorry, I don't know what was going on with me there. Probably too many ice creams earlier, brain freeze. And also loving the phone-ins after the match day as well to get your opinions across. But we are here to discuss the Coventry City preview. Mike, just quickly before we accept our guest who's waiting patiently in the waiting room, Glenn. What are your thoughts on obviously this weekend's game against Coventry City? They've had maybe a similar start to Watford this season. They're only 1 point above us in the table. What are you expecting from them?
A completely different, game to what was last season at the CBS. They've lost two big name players. You could argue that we've lost two big name players. Pedro and Sarr. Not here with us. Jokeretz and Hamer not there with them. I expect it to be a very different game as well in terms of the style of play, in terms of how both teams will set up. I'm sure Glenn will talk to us about that as well. But ultimately, we need to be looking to go there to get all 3 points. I know, the old cliche is win your home games and draw your away ones, but I think for confidence reasons, we need to get points back on the board, and I don't see any reason why we can't play the attractive, expansive football that we have been doing. And we just need that one chance to go in. Even if it's off someone's arse, it doesn't matter. If it goes in, it goes in.
Where's Andre Gray when you need him for something to cover off his backside?
Yeah,
But yeah, we will now get Glenn to come in and join us. Glenn, thank you very much for joining us on the Voices of the Vic. Really appreciate it. So Glenn is from the Sky Blue Hub, which is a Twitter account dedicated to everything Coventry City and more. So he will retweet loads of posts regarding Coventry City. He actually retweeted our matchday vlog last year when we went to Coventry City. So really appreciate that. But Glenn, thank you for joining us. How are you doing?
Not too bad. Looking forward to Saturday. It's going to be weird because we haven't got a Saturday home game for much of September now because of the way the fixtures have fallen. So yeah, we've got a nice break afterwards. It's all like Friday nights or midweeks, or we're away. So yeah, it'll be good. And first of all, I better apologise for not beating Luton in the final because I'm sure most Watford fans wanted us to beat Luton. Unfortunately, we tried,
I
but
don't
we
think
didn't
you
do
would have
good enough.
found a Watford
Unfortunately.
fan that wanted Luton to win that. So yeah, we was all rooting for you. I was debating it whether to watch it or not because I just wanted to. If I didn't watch it and Luton lost, I would have been gutted not to watch it. And then I ended up watching it, and I was even more gutted watching them win and the way they won it as well. But let's not beat around the bush. We'll jump straight into it. And unfortunately, we're going to have to start with the end of last season. You narrowly missed out on promotion to the Premier League after a penalty shootout heartbreak in the playoff final to our arch rivals, Luton Town. What was the general feeling after the game, and did you maybe walk away with your head held high after such an incredible season?
It was a case of if only, and yeah, it was really disappointing. Unfortunately, I knew Dabo was going to miss because the guys never scored a goal for us. And I just didn't watch any of the penalties. I literally sat with my head in my hands with my eldest son, didn't watch it. And I knew as soon as he went up, he was going to miss. I just had this, and that's the worst thing. I think we all felt as Cov fans, we should have been out of sight first half. Luton absolutely dominated us. There could have been 2 or 3 up, and somehow we were stayed in the game by hook or by crook. Then we kicked on second half. Hamer got on the ball. We started playing like we did against you guys. We played some really good football, and we actually turned up. Hamer goes off injured, and then then we had the goal that was disallowed by VAR. And you kind of think we're going to get away with this. We rode our luck enough, and I think just it was a case of our luck ran out this time. Yeah, we'd had a bit of luck throughout the season and got away with it. We come back from 2-0 down against you guys. The goalkeeper scored the 96th minute equaliser that basically meant we picked Blackburn for the playoffs. So yeah, we rode our luck, and unfortunately, just the luck ran out. And yeah, much as it pains me to say fair play to Luton, but yeah, I do look at them and think, yeah, what could we have done if we'd gone in the Premier League, and what players could we have signed? Looking at them bringing in Ross Barkley and other people, you think, yeah, what could have been? I hate penalties, and Wembley isn't a place to be if you lose. Unfortunately, hate it. Don't want to go back
Well,
again. If
at
we
least your
cannot.
ground would have been ready for promotion, unlike our neighbours up the M1.
Exactly. I don't quite echo those sentiments of fair play to Luton, but we'll leave that there. One man I want to talk to you about, Glenn, is the main man, the man in the dugout, Mark Robins. He returned to Cov in 2016 after Cov sacked Russell Slade. Some statistics I want to sort of read out, or accolades I should probably call them. EFL Trophy 2017, you won 2-1 against Oxford United. You won promotion from League Two after winning the playoffs. I actually, on a side note, went to both of the Notts County games because my cousin was the match day announcer at Meadow Lane. So he got us tickets for the Cov, the one at the Rico, and then the one at Meadow Lane as well. And Cov just were head and shoulders above everyone else that season. One man that stood out for me was Max Beermu. He was something else. You won League One in the 2019-20 season with only 3 defeats in the whole season. He won LMA League One Manager of the Year, and then obviously he guided Coventry to a 5th place finish. Surely, after all of those accolades I've just mentioned, Mark Robins has got to be sort of regarded as a Coventry legend.
It's quite funny because whenever anyone like praises Mark Robins to me, I always look back on the posts that come up every year after the day when we rehired him, where Cov fans are saying, why are we bringing him back? Because he left us in the lurch. He made an infamous line of that he bled sky blue, and then less than a week later, he joined off to Huddersfield. And some fans were absolutely against having him back. They didn't want him back. But I just think he fits the club. I think he's such a perfect fit for us. He gets it. He saw Cov as unfinished business. And I don't think he really wanted to go. I think there was a lot behind the scenes that kind of forced his hand. And yeah, there was a part of me when the pitch fiasco is going on and we get absolutely smashed 3-0 at Norwich and played awful. And he did a post-match interview and sounded absolutely broken and like he was ready to jack it all in. That the alarm bells really started worrying that he was going to walk, because I think the only way Robbins goes is he walks. I don't think he's ever going to get sacked at Cov. I'd be amazed. We could lose it. We could lose every game the rest of the season, and I can't see the point of sacking him, because the guy's just the best manager we have. We took us ages to get him. Every other manager we've had in the meantime, we've had Chris Coleman, we had Andy Ford, we had Russell Slade, we had Tony Mowbray. None of them really did it on any consistent basis like Robbins. And he has a problem, he finds a solution. He lost Jody Jones, the League Two season. He was absolutely on fire. Changed the style of play, bought 2 kids in, and knocks County away, as you said, the 4-1. That's the best away day I've had with Cov, and probably up there with one of the best performances Cov have put in my years. And I'll go back to 92, 93 season. So it was really, really good. And the guy's a legend, and you won't have a Cov fan who says a bad word about him, to be honest.
Yeah, no, it's very highly rated in the Championship. I think loads of Championship teams, fans will all appreciate him and respect him. He seems like a top guy as well. 2 of your biggest stars from last season, though, have left Cov for big money moves as well. So Gorkares have ended up going to Portugal with Benfica. Hamer's gone recently in the last couple of weeks to Sheffield United. How big of a blow was it to lose both of them?
With Hamer's slightly disappointing because obviously went to Sheffield United, and I think he could have done better. I think with Gyökeres going to Sporting Lisbon, I think he was always going to go to Europe because his agent was touting him there. I think his agent got a nice little cut of the pie of the deal, so he always wanted to go to Lisbon, and they kind of pinned their hat on him, and we kind of could play a bit of hardball with him. Hamer, I think he wants Premier League football because I think he thinks he's got a chance of the Dutch squad for the Euros coming up, and I think he'll shine. I think it showed on his debut. He looked really good against Forest. I don't think he looked out of place against Man City. So and to be fair, as much as Gyökeres got all the plaudits, I think Hamer was the reason we made the playoffs. His performances over the last like 6, 7 games of the season, he really was like the one who like grasped the mantle, like Steven Gerrard did in the Liverpool comeback. He just grabbed it and just changed his games for us. And it was really disappointing to see him go. And we haven't really replaced him yet. And I don't know whether we can. I think with Gyökeres, we brought 2 strikers in, and we'll see how they go. They're definitely better than we thought we'd bring in. But Hamer, I don't know whether we can replace him. And we're very short on midfielders, unfortunately. But the guy's a legend. Considering he was the raving lunatic who get booked every time he put on a Cov shirt, to now that I think he went 20 games without a booking. So that was unbelievable. And he's superb. And I'm shame he ended it the way he did. I would have rather him ended it on Wembley and go. I think it was kind of the Wimbledon game and then the Leicester game. Although he played well, I don't know. He came off in both games. Was he really committed, or was he just going through the motions and not on it as he would be? So at least with Gyökeres, I think Gyökeres, we all knew he was going. I think Hamer was a bit midnight waking up to that tweet wasn't much fun.
He seems with Hamer, he seems like he's really got Coventry close to his heart as well. I think on the night of the transfer, wasn't he out in a nightclub buying everyone drinks? And then I saw at your game of your weekend, he was actually sitting in the stands watching Coventry as well.
Yeah, he still lives local. He's quite frequently out in Leamington, as most of the Cov players are. They live over that way. So he's good friends. I know he's friends with the guys who have the box because it's he was in on Saturday. It's Tom Grennan's manager, John Dawkins, who they have the box there, and that's how he knows Hamer. So he was in there. He had a queue of people wanting to see him. He'd do anything for anyone. He's really good. He was really good for like stuff off behind the scenes, like stuff in the community, like turning up to events and stuff. So he's kind of, once I think you've been at Cov, you kind of fall in love with a club. A lot of people leave Cov and don't replicate it and say how good the fan base is. I'm disappointed, but part of me thinks if he absolutely smashes it in the Premier League, and even if Sheffield United go down, we'll get a nice little payday next summer because a bigger and better club will come in for him and go. And that's the same thing we're hoping with Gyökeres. Gyökeres has a good 12 months in Portugal, and all the Premier League club go, why on earth didn't we sign him? And somebody pay stupid money for him like they did for like Darwin Núñez from Portugal, like 80, 90 million. And I don't know why bigger clubs didn't take Hamer and Gyökeres offers. I don't know why. I don't think we're asking for stupid money, really. But yeah, it's really a head scratching one that they didn't go Everton or somewhere else higher up the league, like Wolves and stuff. They've been crying out for strikers. I don't get why they're not got. I wouldn't even think either would look outpriced at Brighton or Newcastle or somewhere like that, to be honest.
No, well, I think he was from Brighton originally, wasn't he? He didn't he had a loan spell.
Yeah,
was
he
it
was
Swansea?
at Brighton 23s.
Yeah, that's it. You mentioned there about obviously trying to.
He was on loan at Swansea. Didn't played about nine games.
Yeah, I thought so. You mentioned about wanting to replace these players. You've sort of not messed around or not waited on trying to bring players in, from the money that you've recouped for these. You've brought in, a lot of players for big transfer fees. Sorry, you've got Haji Roy, Ellis Sims, Milan Van Ewijk, Satamoto, Brad Collins, Jada Silva, Louis Binks, and Yassin Ayari. In the first 4 games of the season, would any of those sort of caught your eye particularly more than the
other? Thomas looks really good. I don't think we're going to miss Luke McNally. And there was a lot of COF fans who were like, "We'll keep Luke McNally at any cost. We'll pay whatever Burnley want." And we didn't want to pay what Burnley wanted. And he's ended up out on loan at Stoke. And I don't think we wanted to go down the loan route again. I think we'd rather have our own players. We've kind of stuck with the loan players. So Bobby Thomas has done really good. I like Joel Latibaudiere. He looks someone who's really solid, good leader, championship experience. Better than what we had last season. We had a lot of loans and we youngsters. We've kind of stepped it up. Sakamoto in flashes looks really good, but I'm not sure whether he's too lightweight to play the 10 role. And we don't really play with wingers, and he looks like a winger, and we don't play that way. We play wing backs. And Haji Wright, obviously, you got his picture up. He looks like he could do a job for us and maybe be the potential replacement for Vic. I don't think Sims is. I think Sims is like the penalty box finisher. I think Wright's just got a bit more of the drifting from the left and like cutting in like Gyökeres used to do without having the raw physical dominance, I think. But I think Wright's quite actually deceptively physical for someone who looks quite slight. So yeah, they'd be the ones that I'd pick out as the main ones. And then Sari looks decent. I mean, anyone who tries on the debut to chip the goalkeeper from 70 yards with pretty much the second touch of the ball, has obviously got something about them. And I think there's possibly another 3 that might be coming in before we play you guys, hopefully, because we need them.
Oh wow, busy end to the transfer window for you boys then. So just quickly, one of our fellow members of the Voices of the Vic, I put in the questions into the group earlier, and he was like, he threw back another question that he wanted answered. So this is Cameron's question. He said, "Do you think that having money available this season has been a detriment, given Sim's early struggles and the fact that you've been shrewd in the transfer market before?"
I think the problem is there's always the price tag pressure, isn't there? I think what when we bought Hamer in, he was like 1.5 million. I mean, his underlying data and stats were absolutely superb. I think his assist, I think only Trent in Europe was better than him, but he was only 1.5 million. So it's not, if it fails, then it's not that bad. Sims has got this thing that we've paid £8 million for him. We haven't. We've paid 4.5 million with a lot on add-ons. If he scores goals and we go up, yeah, he's worth 8 million because we get 100 million or whatever it is now you get for going up Premier League. So I think there's a lot of this outsiders looking at Sims going, "I'll cover paid 8 million for him." We haven't. We've done what we're going to do with a lot of our signings. It's loaded deals. The same with the Dutch lad. I think obviously there was figures of him talking about 6-7 million. We haven't paid that much. We've just done an initial fee, and if he does well, you have like a sell-on clause or you get add-ons. Sims, I like. I think the problem is he's got this sort of style that reminds a lot of Cov fans of Tyler Walker, who had this like lazy-ish demeanour, but he'd score goals. But when he was off it, he was off it completely. But when he's on it, he was really, really good. But he never was on it enough for us. He never got the run of games. I think with Sims, I think Robbins will give him that run of games, much like he stuck with McNulty in League Two, and eventually we reaped the rewards, I should say. But yeah, I think the money thing is a bit. I think there will be pressure from the fans. I think the expectations have been raised, but I think being a realist, I look at it and say we had to spend the money because we overachieved last season. There's no way we should have been above Watford, West Brom, however, Swansea with the signings we made. We barely spent a penny last year. We were basically a team of loans, and we were basically held together by a goalkeeper who had his best year he'd probably ever have, was keeping 20-odd clean sheets. Gyökeres had the season of his life. Hamer had the season of his life. And McFadden basically kept our defence together because it was basically kids. And without him, we didn't win a game, basically. So it shows.
Yeah, Ben Wilson did have a good season, and he wins the accolade of the most frustrating opposition goalkeeper to visit the Vic for me last season. It was really, really frustrating, his time-wasting tactics, but hey, you got to admire it. If it was our keeper doing that, I'd probably applaud him. I just want to stick on topic with the man on screen, Ellis Sims. Obviously, you've got rid of Gyökeres and Sims has come in. Have you had to change your style of play to sort of integrate Sims?
We've gone to more of a two up top, which we kind of did and didn't last season. There was games where we went the two up top, which was mainly when Casey Palmer and Jamie Allen were out injured, and we kind of just went two up top, which was Godden and Gyökeres, and then a three-man midfield, which would be Hamer, Eccles, and Sheaf. This season, we've kind of gone to the two up top, which is Godden at the moment because he's the one scoring the goals, and then it changes between Hadji Wright and Sims. I don't know which one out of Sims and Wright will start on Saturday because Wright started the game against Swansea and did really well, and then Sims came in today and came in for the Sunderland game. I think both of them work better with a partner. I think all three of them work better as a partner. I did think Hadji Wright might be possibly a lone striker, but he did a thing last night at a fans forum. He said he would rather play as a two with somebody else. So we've gone more back to it's like a two midfielders, Casey Palmer is our 10, and then the two up top, whereas last season we kind of just had Gyökeres and then two behind in like the box formation that we've used really well. So I think eventually when O'Hare and Allen come back, we might go back to the box, but I'm not sure Sims or Godden is really a lone striker at championship level. Right, maybe, but yeah, we'd have to wait and see. But yeah, I think Sims in a two works, but he's just got to he needs a goal. If he gets a goal, I think he'll be fine. He had a really good pre-season, and I was surprised he absolutely had a shocker against Leicester when he had one where he's clean through and he shanked it about 10 yards wide of the corner flag, which is really bad. But yeah, I don't know. I think the guy's got potential, but it's just one of them. The longer he goes without a goal, it depends on the character of him.
I look forward to him scoring against Watford this weekend. Then Watford seems to be the gift that keeps on giving. We give it on a plate to people who haven't scored for weeks or haven't won all season. Watford are the team you want to play against. But from a commentary point of view, is there any weaknesses in your side that maybe Watford could exploit this Saturday?
I think the wing backs we have do play quite high, so there is always space behind us. I still think Midlands is getting himself back to speed with the team. Jay De Silva is very good going forward, maybe not defensively. We've leaked a few goals down that side. And yeah, I still think the back three are still just kind of getting together, and there is a good chance that McFadden might not be fit because he took a hell of a whack as it went down, and he looked like he'd done his ankle. He didn't move for a couple of minutes, so he carried on because he's that sort of soldier. But I wouldn't be surprised if he's not fit for Saturday, and we will miss him in terms of his leadership. Whether he'd be the better it'd be a good game for him to miss against you guys because you probably play a bit more pacey attackers, which maybe is not his strength, as shown in the playoff final. If he gets 1v1 against anyone with pace, he can get done, as Adebayo did when he just roasted him. So yeah, that's my worry with Fazdin. If he gets pulled out wide, he gets exposed. And probably we don't have the creativity without Hamer. I think Sheaf and Eccles are very, very similar. They're very box to box, but don't have that X factor. So we rely a hell of a lot on Casey Palmer. And if Casey Palmer isn't on it, we're not as good as we were with Hamer, because Hamer's got that X factor pass or the moment of magic where he beats 2 or 3 people and slips it in. With Casey Palmer, it's still just not quite gelling yet. And the way that it did, like when we had Callum O'Hare with Godden and stuff, they'd automatically pass the ball and it'd be right on Godden's wavelength. I think Palmer's still getting used to Sims and Wright. So yeah, the last couple of games we have missed Hamer, and the amount of chances we created dropped dramatically.
And now that Jokeretz has gone, I know we keep going back to him. I promise we're not being lazy in our research. You know, we're used to it every time in lockdown, especially. We'd ask people, you know, who are you looking out for? And they'd say Troy Deeney and João Pedro and all that. But now that Jokeretz has gone, who would you say the danger man is for Carth? Who the Watford fans and the Watford defence need to be sort of wary of on Saturday?
I would say Godden, because he is actually got in form. He had an absolute shocker against Leicester and missed some absolute sitters, which I can't believe he did. But I think, yeah, Godden is definitely someone who could cause you guys problems, because I think he's good movement and you've got some good physical centre halves, but his movement's good and he's got that little bit of magic in him. I mean, I still don't know how he scored that goal against you at the CBS. Well, I do, because your goalkeeper just stood there like a statue, but I still don't know how he put it in from where he was. But yeah, that's the thing with him. He's very much that sort of player he is. He'll score some easy goals and then miss some sitters. And Hadji Wright, I think, will cause you guys problems, because he's just got that turn of pace that Jokeres had, and he's deceptively quick. And if he gets space and runs with it, he's got trouble against you. I just think his finishing hasn't been the greatest, which I'm probably being harsh on him because he's an international striker. I'm thinking he probably should do better. He had a good chance against Sunderland, which he should have really buried. And Sims did the same. Sims had a chance and he should have really buried. But I'd judge Wright slightly above Sims, which is probably harsh, because we paid about the same money for both with the deals. But I think Wright, because he's international, I would expect more from him. But yeah, and Ben Sheaf is the other one who's really good. Obviously, his performance second half against you guys at the CBS was superb, and he kind of changed the game, really. And we need more goals from him now. Hamer's gone. We need him popping up in the box, scoring like he did the equaliser against you guys. So yeah, I think those are the 3 that I would single out. Casey Palmer's really good, but I think he's a bit of a show pony. It's good tricks, but where's the end product? I'll probably say that, and I'll have a storm and set up 3 goals on Saturday. But yeah, that's my thing with him. I just think, yeah, good little flicks, but where's the end product? You know what I mean? I want goals. I want assists. I don't want you back in it 20 yards and straight into the path of somebody else. Doesn't mean anything. I want your end product, and that's what I judge you on.
What are Coventry's hopes for this season? And obviously, you've lost 2 big players, but you've signed a lot of players, and it's like you've built a decent squad now. Is it hopes are for another playoff position? Are you looking to go one further to maybe get automatic? I know that's a massive ask with the teams that have gone down, but looking at your recruitment this year, you've really gone for it, I think. So, what's your hopes for this season?
If you'd asked me after Jokeres went, I'd have said I've been happy top half. It came kind of when I think we've got a chance for top 6 if we keep Hamer. Now I think it's down to who we replace Hamer. I think the remaining signings will be key, because we definitely need another defender. I'd probably say we need 1 or 2 midfielders at least. And then we need O'Hare to come back and be back on form, because he's going to be the difference maker. I would absolutely love to do automatic promotion, because as I said earlier, I don't want to do the playoffs. That is probably pie in the sky, but that's my dream, to see us get promoted at the CBS. We have QPR last game of the season, so I would love that if we got automatics. But it's such a crazy league. That's just pipe dream. I think if we finish anywhere near the playoffs, it's success. The new chairman said basically the target was playoffs three out the next 5 years, and we would hopefully get promoted one of those 3 times. So I think it's a very long-term project. All the new signings are pretty much on 3-4 year deals. We've signed a lot of the existing players onto long-term deals. So it's a long-term project. It's not going to be that we don't get promoted. Robbins is going to get sacked in the summer like you guys do. Couldn't resist that, unfortunately. But yeah, I think yeah, top half would be great. And I think if we carry the run on, we're not on that bad a run of form. We've lost, I think, 2 games in the last 13, and that was to Stoke and to Leicester. Besides that in the league, so we're on a good run of form still. If we keep that going, then yeah, we'll be fine. But I think we kind of need to beat you guys to just make it a decent start. Whereas it's just an average start at the moment. I think 8 points from the games we've had would be a good return for us and keep us nice and in the mix. And we're only going to get better as the season gets on because the new players are going to get used to the style of play and hopefully get better and better with us.
And talking about the game on Saturday now, last couple of questions. In terms of a Watford perspective, who do you look at on that squad list, the ever-changing squad list and the sort of brand new squad list from Watford's perspective this season? Who are you looking at thinking, oh, I don't quite fancy coming up against him?
I like the centre half you've got. Is it Ryan Porteous? He's really good. He's an old-fashioned centre half, like him. Would have loved him if we could have got him as like McFadden's replacement. I think he's solid. But when I've seen him play for Scotland, he's always impressed me. I do like the right back. Is it Andrews you've got, the young lad?
Yeah, Ryan Andrews.
Yeah, he made his debut against you last year at the CBS.
Yeah. And I thought he did really well. And we obviously, I think the ex-Cov player Richard Shaw's, I think he's involved with your under 21 side, I think, or he knows someone. And he said how highly rated he was. And you set up, and he did a thing with one of my colleagues on Sky Boost Fans TV, and they interviewed him, and he did say about Andrews and said how well he did. And I like the look of him. I think he's a good player. And then I'll be honest, I don't really know many of you attackers. Obviously, know Tom Ince, but he hasn't really been playing for you. And I think is it Loza? Was he the one who scored the second goal against us? But yeah, I think he's a bit hit and miss. So yeah, they're the ones I would worry at, and I think Bayo's plays up front, but I don't really know, is he that quick? I mean, he's definitely not like João Pedro or Sarr pace. So yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see how we get on. But yeah, I think your best bet is probably the wide two in your front two, and your fullbacks getting on. Obviously, I think you've got Semo at left back. He could possibly get behind Milan a few times and maybe cause some problems for us. But yeah, I think Ishmael will have you well drilled, and he tends to do all right against Cov side. But he brought West Brom to us, I think it was a couple of seasons ago, and he was under massive pressure and he beat us 2-1, and really it could have been more. West Brom absolutely dominated us, and they were on about him getting sacked then, and he just got the team perfect against us. So yeah, I wouldn't say I'm too overly confident about him because he's just got that style of play that tends to upset us. And we weren't great against long throws. So if you've got anyone who can throw a long throw in, that's been a bit of Achilles heel for us for quite a while, especially if we don't have McFadden. Yeah, Wrexham exploited us to the nth degree with long throws in the FA Cup tie, which we made a total pig's ear of defending. So yeah, you've got a long throw specialist, then McFadden isn't fit, we're screwed. Get your money on Watford.
I think you'll be quite surprised with maybe how Watford have set up this weekend under Valerie Ishmael. From a lot of people that we've heard from Barnsley podcast, West Brom podcast, where it was very direct and physical. Watford are they're completely opposite. Valerie Ishmael wants to keep possession. He's got an aggressive high press. And it's not like the direct football that you would expect with like a West Brom and Barnsley side. So I think you'll be a bit surprised. I know lots of pundits are very surprised with it. I was listening to a podcast earlier, but not the top 20 podcast, and they were saying on there like how he's maybe gone away from the failure at West Brom, where the fans were saying how unattractive the football was, but now he's came to Watford and okay, we've not had the results yet, but it's actually been attractive football, and we just can't stick it in the back of the net. I think we haven't scored a goal for about, well, since the opening game of the season, Mike, is it? When we won 4-0 against QPR.
355 minutes or
Yeah, so
320, something like that, yeah.
and then against Blackburn last weekend, we lost 1-0, but we had about 65% possession. We had 24 shots, 4 shots on target. And our problem is we just can't put the ball in the back of the net. So hopefully we just need something to go off someone's arse at the weekend and it can trickle past the goal. And hopefully we can keep a clean sheet, because Watford as well, we've conceded the least chances in the Championship this season as well, probably the least amount of goals as well. So it's,
Joint with
I
Birmingham.
think yeah. So I think you'll be surprised by how Watford show up this weekend. But then when we went to Stoke not so long ago, it wasn't a pretty performance. I think we're better at home than we are away from home, but it should be an interesting game to say the least. Mike's travelling up to watch it. You got tickets and your IN, so I imagine you're going to be there, Glenn, as well.
Yeah, I'm in block 23, so I'm right down by the corner flag, not by the naughty corner that's by the away fans that get a bit rowdy. So yeah, I like the nice, quiet, sensible seats. Yeah, I tried the rowdy end once, and then but nah, bit too noisy for me. I'll sit in the nice, sensible end. But yeah, it'll be a good atmosphere. Like I said, it's up. We're pretty much at 25,000 consistently now, which, given how, like, I remember us playing in League Two against Forest Green when they bought 50 away fans and there was less than 6,000 in the ground. We've come on massively. So yeah, it makes for a better atmosphere as well when the CBS is full. It looks a bit stupid when we had one end of the ground half empty. So yeah, we've booked the ideas up, and yeah, we've got like a fan village outside now, so you can buy beer and stuff. So it's just a lot more of a nicer place now. Mike Ashley has actually done a good job with getting the CBS looking that it's a proper ground for once, where it was looked a bit like a shambles at times last year, unfortunately. But yeah, it's we're moving onwards and upwards, thankfully.
Yeah, no, I think Coventry's a lovely club. The ground's amazing as well. I think when we played you last year, it was nearly a sellout as well, because obviously you had a lot of momentum. You was pushing on for the playoffs. It was on Sky as well, and when games are always on Sky as well, you think fans might not bother turning up and just watch at home. That wasn't the case with Coventry fans. I think you nearly pretty much sold out, and it was pissing down with rain that day as well. I was absolutely soaked when I walked from a car park just off the motorway junction to the CBS Arena. I was absolutely soaked. So I'm hoping the weather's a bit drier this weekend. But talking of the game this weekend, what would your score prediction be?
I'll probably go. I don't think there'll be many goals. I'll take a scrappy 1-0 now on it. I don't. Looking at how we've been the last few games, we've not been as creative without Hamer. So unless we sign a couple of star people, and the names that I'm hearing us be linked with, I'll take with a pinch of salt, because it's turned into silly season. Like people saying John Joe Shelby or who was it, Lewis O'Brien, and like names like that. And I'm like, yeah, I'll believe it. But that's the level of player we think we can get now. So yeah, I'll take a scrappy 1-0. But yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if it's a 0-0. It would not surprise me at the moment, because I think we're just going through that stage where we just kind of need to get through to the international break, kind of do a bit more on the pitch, and then come back afresh for the whole game. But yeah, I'll take a point. I just don't lose. That's the thing. I think the more points we pick up now, the better it is in the long term for us.
Mike, what's your score prediction?
I don't know. It's gonna be tough, man. I mean, listening to Glenn talk about Cov, you forget the form that they're in. I mean, the run of form they're on at the moment, and they're a good side. They're not to be underestimated. I'm not just saying that, but you know, they have sort of become that side that you don't want to face in especially the last sort of season. You know, they beat us convincingly at the Vic. Jokerit scored that brilliant goal, and then you know we completely ballsed it up when we went to their place. So I obviously want to see us win. I'm going to be a bit optimistic. I'm going to stick with my my usual prediction that I've predicted so far every week, which is 2-1 to Watford. I think Rajovic is going to get off the mark. I think he needs to. Well, I don't want to say he needs to shake that monkey off his back because he's only played 40 odd minutes for us. But the way that some people are crucifying him, it's like he's played 10 games and still not scored. I can't believe I'm hearing people write off a striker that made his debut on Sunday and come on in the 52nd minute. And you've got people on Twitter saying that Rajovic is shit and he don't look comfortable. I'm like, the bloke come on in the 52nd minute, man. You know, give him time.
He arrived in England 48 hours earlier.
Exactly. So, like, if he's 5-10 games in, he's still not scored, then yeah, you know, give him pelters, but not you know, however long, 40 odd minutes or whatever. So I think he'll get off the mark. But it's going to be a close game. I just don't want them to put me through what they did last time. I mean, I'm going down. I'm in Birmingham all weekend for a nice weekend on the alcohol, let's say, and that'll really ruin the spirits if I go to Cov and we somehow fluff up a 2-0 lead again. But I'm going to go for a quietly confident 2-1 win. But it's going to be a close game. What about you, Ben?
Well, it's always difficult going to Cov, isn't it? Especially after last season. I think Watford, I think they thought they won it at half time, didn't they? And then 5-10 minutes into the second half, was doing the Olays because there was a couple of back heels or something. Then next minute, the ball into the back of the net, and then it was just a disaster, wasn't it? But I'm going to be a bit optimistic as well. I'm going to go for a 1-0 Watford away win. I think with what we've seen this season under Vadery, I think it's encouraging. The football's more attractive. I just think sooner or later we're gonna score a goal and hopefully get the 3 points. So I'm going to go for a 1-0 away win. I'm confident with our defence. I think Porteous and Wesley Hoot have got a fantastic partnership. And like Glenn says, old school defenders as well. So I think we'll need that this weekend. And I'm going to go for a Mateus Martins goal. He hit the woodwork twice last weekend against Blackburn. So I think this weekend will be his weekend to get on the score sheet. But Glenn, we've got two more things quickly before we let you go. Who are your 3 teams to go up and your 3 teams to go down?
I think Huddersfield will definitely go down. It wouldn't surprise me if Rotherham join them. And Cardiff were the one I kind of looked at. But I'm not sure because they've got. I think Sheffield Wednesday will actually look at it. If I was picking one who is a toss-up, I think it's Cardiff or Rotherham. I think Rotherham may well do a good bit of business, but yeah, I worry about any team that gets hammered like they did last night at Stoke, with Stoke's XG for chances being worse than Rotherham's. That kind of alarms me that you beat 6-1. So yeah, I think they would be the 3. In terms of 3 to go up, I'm going to say Cov because that would be. I would love that. I'm not sure about Leeds. Leeds depends who they sign. I had this thing about Leeds that could do another Watford or West Brom like in the past, but then I think they've got some good players. But then they should have never got beat yesterday against Salford. They should be wiping the floor with them, and they're doing some weird loans out, which baffles me. I don't see the hype with Sunderland. I don't see the hype with Middlesbrough. So I would go Southampton, and I would. Norwich really interested me, but they've lost Sargent. I think he's a big player for them, so I'll probably go Southampton, Cov, and then I think it's you pick your hat out. You guys, Watford. It could be anyone, but if you want to pin me down to someone, I will go for. I'm going to say Norwich just to be interesting.
Yeah, they've surprised me the last couple of weeks and seeing how comfortable and convincing they've been with some of their wins. I know Huddersfield haven't been great, and like you've predicted them, they might go down this season. But I think a 4-0 away from home anywhere in the Championship is quite convincing, even if it's against Huddersfield Town. So I wouldn't be surprised if they are up there. I think they've recruited really well with good, experienced players as well. I think Adam Forshaw, in the last couple of days from Leeds is fantastic as well. And I can't stand the guy in Ashley Barnes, but he's the kind of experience you need up top who's going to unrattle the opposition and the opposition fans. And it just depends how long Sargent's going to be out for as well. Did look like a bit of a nasty injury when he scored that goal. But yeah, just finally, Glenn, before we let you go, thank you for joining us tonight. And sorry it's taken maybe a little bit longer than we anticipated. What we did last season is we played a little game with the opposition fan, and it's played for both. So basically, I'm just going to ask you to see how many players you can name that have represented Watford and Coventry during their careers. But we're also going to do a league table with all the opposition fans that we've had on the podcast this year, and we're starting it fresh with you tonight. So we've actually missed 4 fans already this season, but we're going to catch up with those in a reverse fixture. So you're starting the table. So it's say if you get 3 players right that you can name, we'll put you on the leaderboard and you'll be sitting top of the tree with 3, and we'll put your name on it. And then at the end of the season, we'll let everyone know who's came top. Just a bit of fun. So thinking of who have played for Watford and Coventry during their careers, is any spring to your mind? How many do you reckon you can name?
I'm trying. I know one definitely. I know John Eustace because obviously I remember him. Marlon King.
Oh, I forgot about King.
Yeah.
AD Boothroyd, Links. I'm trying to think if Boothroyd brought anyone else who's ex-Watford into us. I'm trying to think now. Who's played?
I had a look earlier and I found
we've never been in the same league.
Yeah, that's it. It's difficult, isn't it?
Marlon King, John Eustace. I'm trying to think. I'm going to kick myself when you say some of the names because I will do. Marlon King, John Eustace. I'm trying to think if there's anyone recently you guys have had. No, I'm going to swear when you say some of the names because they'll come to me.
No
yeah,
problem.
I don't think Richard Shaw's on your coaching staff, but he hasn't played for you.
Yeah.
And I'm struggling goalkeeper wise to think of anyone who's played.
You're still sitting top of the leaderboard with 2 though, so you can say that way.
It's a good start to the season.
I'll have a think. I'll have a think when I come back on. And try and think
it could. Yeah. Well, you would have time to do research for that next time. So we'll have to make up another category quickly for you to throw you under the bus. But 2. It's a good start, Mike, isn't it? It's 2 more than.
I completely forgot about Marlon King, and I'm gutted at that. You know, King was class for us, and he was good at Cov as well, to my recollection. One which I'm surprised you didn't go for. He's currently Wales manager, Rob Page.
Yeah, true. I forgot about him.
Yeah. Well, I was
trying to think. I knew there was one going back that far. That's what I say. I was thinking. I knew there was one around the 2000 era, and I was just thinking. But yeah, I forgot about him. But yeah, he was infamous for the Michael Doyle spat where he literally splattered Michael Doyle's teeth all over the Brighton training ground in a scuffle. So yeah, that was a good one. So
yeah,
throw me some more out because
so earlier during the day at work, it was a little bit boring, so I managed to have actually a bit of time to do a bit of research for this. So I've managed to find 12 players that have played for both Watford and Coventry going back to the 2000s. So the first one was Marvin Sordell. Played 20 games for Coventry, scoring 4 goals. the one who's probably most recent, and you might be kicking yourself a little bit about it, is Brendan Mason.
Yeah, I forgot about him. Yeah, because he come to us from you, and yeah, he did quite well, and then he just got totally bombed out. I think last time he was at Crawley Town or somewhere. I don't know. Yeah, I should
Yeah,
have got him.
he had a little
Definitely
stint
should
in
have got him.
Scotland as
I
well,
used to
didn't he?
sponsor him as well, which is even worse. I used to sponsor him. I sponsored his kit. That's the worst thing.
Oh,
I totally
wow.
forgot it.
Oh dear. Who have you sponsored this year?
I haven't actually sponsored anyone this year, but yeah, we did like a syndicate thing. We called it like the Class of '87. There was about 30 of us in it, and we just sponsored a player, 2 players, I think 2 seasons in a row. But yeah, it was quite funny because we had Mason, and then the following year, I can't remember whoever we had left, and then we had David Myler, and he got injured and played like 3 games for Cov. So yeah, that was a good one. I can't remember who we had before. We had someone who left anyway. So yeah, it wasn't the bestest thing, so we knocked it
Brilliant.
on the head.
So the remaining players are Darius Henderson, that actually played 5 games for Coventry.
Oh.
Jordan Stewart played
Yeah, he
6
was
games.
awful. That's probably why I didn't remember him.
Paul Furlong played 37 games.
Yeah, it was just before my time as a golf fan. But yeah, I forgot him.
Then
Should have remembered him.
you've actually signed someone from Watford directly on a loan. We had a youngster by the name of Michael Falevi. He actually joined you and played only 1 game for you.
And he's
And
got a
then Cole Dickinson.
checker trade trophy winning medal.
Oh, yeah, he
Cole
has.
Dickinson, yeah.
Forgot about
Oh.
There's a
Cole
video of him
Dickinson.
at Wembley with his medal. Yeah, I should have got him because he played in the checker trade semi-final. We lost. We signed him. Yeah.
Reece Brown.
I vaguely remember. I didn't know he was at Watford. But yeah, I never got him.
Yeah, we had him on loan from Manchester United just after you had him, and then the last one was Wayne Andrews, 10 games, and that's quite funny actually. With you talking about Andrews for us, that's actually Wayne Andrews' son.
that. Yeah.
Oh, was it? Didn't know
Yeah,
that.
so we had his dad play for us, and then yeah, now his sons came through the academy, and he's one of the people you said you might be looking out for this weekend. So yeah, he started his Watford career very well, and then one player who have signed for both clubs, but he's never actually kicked a ball for Coventry, was Al Bangora. He actually signed for you, but then for personal reasons left after a couple of weeks later. So yeah, he played many games for Watford, signed for Coventry later on, and just never played a game. But yeah, no, two names you managed to list. Are you a bit gutted after hearing some of those names?
I should have got Folvey. As I said, Folvey. There's a video at the end at Wembley of him running around like he's won the World Cup, and the guy never kicked a ball for us. I think he literally his last appearance was the last game of the season when we were already relegated. He came and sub. He never kicked a ball for us. I think Slade signed him. I don't know why we brought him in because but yeah, he always comes up and like you see his name scoring goals and like yeah, I remember him because he literally never kicked a ball for us. And I think Wayne Andrews scored with his first touch away at Barnsley, and that was the only Cov goal he scored. He come on as sub. Mickey Adams got stick for bringing him on, and then he scored with his first touch. So Mickey Adams just turned around to the fans and then made a point of it in his post-match presser of digging the fans out for telling him that he didn't know what he was doing. So yeah, they
He
always
wants to
stick
try
in my mind. But
teaching
yeah,
his
I can't
son
believe I
to
didn't
do
get
that as well. Because Ryan's got this annoying knack of when he gets the ball on the edge of the box, because he presses quite high, he'll take a touch. And I can't remember what game it was. He had 2 chances where if he just hit it first time, it'd have tested the keeper and it may have gone in. So hopefully Wayne's watching his performances back and telling him about that goal for Coventry, because it's bloody frustrating when you see Ryan do it for Watford, taking a touch. I'm thinking, just fucking hit it. But yeah, he's a professional footballer. I'm not. So maybe he's got the last laugh.
Fantastic. Well, anyway, thank you, Glenn, so much for joining us tonight. Sorry to keep you a little bit longer than anticipated. Really
That's
enjoyed
all right.
talking all things Coventry City with you. So yeah, you are sitting at the top of the Voices of the Vic leaderboard for played for both with a solid 2. So I'm going to create a graphic tomorrow, and then we'll keep adding to it for the season, and we'll let you know maybe for a reverse picture whereabouts you are in the table, and we'll see if we'll create another category and maybe you can move up the table again. But yeah, thank you for joining us, Glenn. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. All the best for the rest of the season. Bar on Saturday, anyway.
Yeah, likewise, mate. Thank you very much. Mike, that was a good old chat, wasn't it? All things Coventry City. Glenn's the top lad. So we kind of had a little chat earlier about what we're kind of expecting out of it with Coventry on Saturday. Has your thoughts changed a little bit after speaking to Glenn?
Yeah, of course. Look, he mentioned the run of form they're on, lost 2 in the last 17. I think he said. That's a good bloody run of form, and but a little part of me can't help but think they've lost 2 big players. But then again, it's deja vu because we were sat here last week. I was sat here with Cam last week talking to Ryan, the Blackburn fan, and they've lost 2 big players in Brereton Diaz and Bradley Dack. And look, they had smash and grab 1-0. But at the end of the day, if we keep playing the way that we do, goals will come. I've no doubt about it. We've had 55 shots since our last goal. I think someone put that stat out. So it's bound to go in one of these days. And listen, we keep playing the way that we are, and we're going to get results. End of. There's no need to panic yet. Transfer deadline day is on Friday, so that's going to be interesting. I'm sure we'll be popping out tweets left, right, and centre, and we'll sort of all be busy in our own right, sort of checking the news, and it'll be interesting to see who comes in. But no, I'm looking forward to going to Cov. Cov's one of my favourite away days. I remember going once and we won 4-0. I think it was the last game of the season. I'm sure it was. And we wore the black kit with red shorts. I'm not sure if that was a 4-0, but I've been quite a few times. I've been when I think Raziak scored as well and we won 3-2. So I've got some good memories at the Rico. I still call it the Rico. A couple of times you call it the CBS and it's thrown me off. I'm like, what's he on about? But that is the proper name for it. So, yeah, no, I'm looking forward to the game. And, Glenn was a top lad. Sounded like he was a fellow Brummie as well. So hopefully you don't come off the live tonight speaking Brummie to your missus.
Mate, every time I speak to you, I come away talking like I'm from Birmingham. So yeah, don't worry about it. Especially when we had that weekend, was it long weekend away in Barcelona? I've never came back with a more Brummie accent than I did that weekend, just being with you for about 4 days straight. But yeah, no, that was quality. I've just realised as well, and it's taken me over an hour to realise because we've been recording for that long, but we're actually wearing the home and away shirt for the same season on the screen at the moment.
No, this is from last season.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, this is last season.
I got it wrong then.
Season. Yeah.
Was it the red? The red was the away shirt when I've got this.
The red one and the green one, and I was going to wear the green one tonight, but I opted against it. I'm trying to keep it different every time I come on. I've got loads of Watford shirts, but this is last season's away one of my favourites.
Same as me. Yeah, it's the only time I get to wear a Watford shirt other than a match day when I go to a game. And because I've got so many of them, and I just don't want them to just sit there hanging on the hanger collecting dust. I'm just like, I'll just wear a different Watford shirt each week for whenever we do a podcast. So at least I'm getting a few wears out of them. But yeah, I guess we better wrap it up there, mate. Thoroughly enjoyed chatting to you as per, and doing another preview. Thank you for everyone watching tonight on our YouTube page. As we've mentioned before, we will just be doing all our content on YouTube live now instead of doing Facebook live. And then once it's all recorded, we'll be uploading onto all the platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google, wherever you get it from an audio platform, it'll be on there. So yeah, going forward, it'll just be YouTube and all the other platforms. We won't be doing Facebook. So if you do normally watch on Facebook and you've just seen us on YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the little bell in the corner as well, which will notify you every time we go live. So if you like this video as well, hit that like button. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And me, well, not me, I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm not actually watching the game this weekend. It's my daughter's third birthday party. So I've got a good excuse to miss it this week. So Mike will be back at the weekend doing a review. He's also doing a match day vlog as well. So there'll be double content for you guys this weekend. And then I'll probably be back in a couple of weeks' time. But yeah, stay safe, everyone. And come on.